Hi, my name is Sloan Lambert, and I'm one of our attorneys here at Melone, Hatley, PC. Today, we're going to be talking about how legal issues don't just affect you legally, but how they can take severe emotional tolls on your mind, on your body, and ultimately on your well-being. First of all, not only do they affect your bank account, but they can severely affect your concentration, your sleep, and things that you wouldn't typically think of. Legal challenges can be very triggering. You've been living a life that you haven't been happy with for probably quite some time, whether that be with your partner, with the way that you're able to see your children, and that alone can start a cycle of triggering grief, fear, and uncertainty, which can lead to those longer effects of not having good sleep, not having good time when you are with your kids or with your partner. Let's talk about different ways that your legal case can be affecting your mental health and maybe some signs that would indicate that you need more than just legal assistance, but looking into how your mental health can be positively impacted by therapy, a network of support, or things like that. First, we'll be talking about some physical signs that might show that you would benefit from more than just legal assistance, but maybe some therapy after what you've been through as well. First, fatigue, feeling lethargic, headaches, changes in your appetite and your sleep, things that indicate that you're not functioning on all cylinders, maybe like you would like to be. Here are some emotional signs that might indicate that you would benefit from more than just your legal case, but maybe some therapy or group help. The first sign is going to be a feeling of hopelessness or that feeling of imminent doom, like it's never going to feel better and you're never going to come out of this hole that you feel that you're in. There's also the feeling of having mood swings. You feel like you can't regulate your emotions. And that alone might show that there's some kind of dip in your serotonin or your dopamine that's being impacted by your case. And then, of course, there's a feeling of anxiety, which is so normal to feel when you're going through something that you've never been through before, like a divorce or like a custody battle or like figuring out guardianship for a parent or a child. These are things that you've likely never been through before, and now you are. So feeling anxiety about what that might look like, how that's going to end up, is completely normal, but it's still a warning sign that you might benefit from some extra help. There's also a cognitive strain that can sometimes come with your case. That might be trouble focusing, trouble remembering little details, forgetting events that you had previously agreed to, or forgetting things that you've said. This is all an element of cognitive strain that just shows, again, that you're maybe not focusing on things you used to be able to focus on because your mind is in so many places at once. There's also a feeling of social isolation. If you used to be around people that would give you some kind of sense of security, but now you're finding yourself wanting to back away, that's also normal because you have so much going on in your mind and you don't feel like you can be your true self. That feeling of social isolation, again, it might be normal, but it's also a warning sign that you might benefit from additional help on your mental health. If you find yourself wanting to escape what you're feeling or numb the pain through using alcohol or drugs of some sort, again, those are all things that are warning signs that you might benefit from additional assistance. Talking to someone, talking to a therapist, finding friends who make you feel safe. That substance abuse is something that, while might make you feel good in the moment and might make you feel that sense of escape, they're not ultimately healthy coping mechanisms, and extra help is absolutely available. There's the ultimate question of, why does this happen? Why is my mental health so severely impacted by what's going on in a legal case? Well, the reason is because you wouldn't have a legal case if something in your life was going exactly the way that you thought it would, or if everything was going perfectly the way that your agreement says that it will. If you have a legal matter in a family law case, typically it means that your life in some way feels out of your hands. It feels out of control. And that can make you feel a sense of spiraling, and giving over control to someone else, like an attorney, can feel debilitating. It can feel like things are out of your hands that used to be so closely held. But again, if you're going through a divorce, a custody battle, it can feel completely unknown, because it is. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that coping in the middle of your matter makes you seem weak or makes you weak at all. If anything, it shows that you're utilizing resources to make sure that at the end of your matter, you're coming out stronger than you were before. Whether there be an answer that you were hoping for or not, the coping mechanisms that you develop in the middle of your case are going to carry you through to the very end. Not only that, but legal timelines can be pretty long. Sometimes cases don't actually go before the judge for months and months, sometimes years. So what you're doing in the middle of that to make sure that you remain healthy, you remain focused, and you remain prioritizing your health and your family's health is of utmost importance. When to seek that assistance, when to seek help. Do you do it at the very beginning before you're starting to feel overwhelmed at all? Do you do it in the middle when you're starting to feel that feeling? Or do you wait until it's too late and you're trying to backtrack? Of course, the answer is maybe some kind of mitigation where you're trying to prevent a feeling of being overwhelmed. If you have access to a therapist or friends that might give you that sense of support, lean on them from the very beginning. Another piece of importance is what you're dealing with. If you're coming to our office because you're looking for a will, then you might not need the same support as someone coming to our office who is going through a domestic violence dispute, or there's some sense of betrayal, there's been some kind of adultery. So regardless of when you seek help, making sure that you're developing those healthy coping mechanisms is absolutely crucial to not only making sure that you're able to think about what's going on with a clear head, but also if you don't feel necessarily clear, you have ways out of it that make you feel supported. So what can support look like? It can be therapy. It can be individual therapy, one-on-one with a trusted provider. It can be group therapy, where you might be in a room full of other people going through something similar and you can lean on one another. It also might just look like finding a healthy coping mechanism, like going on long walks, going to your favorite restaurant by yourself where you feel a sense of peace and control. Those are all things that if you develop early on, you'll continue doing throughout your matter when you're maybe feeling overwhelmed. A lot of times, clients just want to call their attorney and get an update of what's going on, and that's also okay. But just remember that your attorney is likely not a licensed therapist and likely not able to give you true mental health assistance. While I love to talk with you about your case and I love to keep you updated, I know that I am not personally qualified to give you mental health support the way that a therapist can. Same way that hiring an attorney helps you manage your legal case, hiring a therapist or an online coach or an in-person coach can help you manage your emotional regulation as well. They can also help you make clear decisions, the same way that your attorney helps you talk about how to make clear legal decisions. If any of this resonates with you in any way, if you're currently feeling overwhelmed, if you think that you ultimately might feel overwhelmed, or if you remember a time in the past where you became overwhelmed, anxious, depressed based on something big that was going on in your life, and you know that you might be about to enter one of those seasons, go ahead and contact us here at Melone Hatley PC, and we can talk about what's going on. If you have a matter with us, we can talk about what the next steps might look like. But we can also point you in the right direction if you do feel like you need some kind of mental health assistance, whether we encourage you to go see a therapist, encourage you to find a trusted individual you can share your story with, or anything like that. Don't hesitate to reach out to us here at Melone Hatley PC because we are your partner in divorce and estate planning.